I welcome the opportunity to address the Chamber today and update deputies on the work underway in my department to help the enterprise sector meet the business challenges presented by COVID-19. Clearly, COVID-19 has resulted in a profound impact across the economy with unprecedented speed. Figures from the Department of Employment Affairs and Social Protection indicate that it had issued payments to 591,000 people in respect of their application for the COVID-19 pandemic unemployment payment and 36,100 in receipt of COVID-19 illness benefits up to Tuesday last, the 28th of April. These payments are in addition to the 212,000 people on the live register on the 20th of April. Over 50,000 businesses have now registered for the government's temporary wage subsidy scheme, with over 400,000 employees receiving payment under the scheme. These figures reflect the impact of closures across the economy, with those sectors most dependent on public footfall, such as recreation, tourism and hospitality, and other service-orientated sectors being closed. As a result of COVID-19, we have gone from a position where we had full employment in this country just 2 months ago, with more people at work than ever before, to a position today where we now have over 1 million people in receipt of income support of some form. While there are large parts of the economy and society that have ceased activities, I think that we should remember that there are significant parts of our economy and business sector that have continued to operate and implement the physical distancing guidelines. These sectors continue to operate safely, include the essential retail sector, from supermarkets to pharmacies and filling stations, large parts of manufacturing and financial services, ICT, energy and communication sectors, and other sectors such as transport and freight and waste management. My department has put a range of business supports in place, including a €450 million COVID-19 working capital scheme from the SBCI, which supports loans from €25,000 up to €1.5 million. Almost 2,000 applications have already been received under that scheme, which demonstrates the strong appetite for working capital amongst businesses. Loans of up to €50,000 are available for small businesses from Microfinance Ireland, with the first 6 months interest and repayment free. And as of the 28th of April, 321 applications had been received. 186 of these have been approved to a value of €5.2 million, and a further 71 applications are in progress. An additional €200 million has also been made available to the Future Growth Loan Scheme for COVID-19. A €180 million Sustaining Enterprise Fund. Enterprise Ireland and the IDA have access to this fund. They provide for financial support of up to €800,000 for manufacturing and internationally traded services firms. The Business Continuity Grant of €2,500 run by the local enterprise offices are for businesses across every sector that employ up to 50 people. There have been almost 3,000 applications for that scheme to date, so it is proving hugely popular with small businesses. Grant aid of up to €5,000 is now available through the local enterprise offices to help businesses get online and continue trading during COVID-19. In addition, a new €2 million online retail scheme is open to retailers employing over 10 people to support companies in the indigenous retail sector. Grants of between €10,000 and €40,000 are available under that scheme. A COVID-19 business financial planning grant of €5,000 is available through Enterprise Ireland to help companies develop a robust financial plan. A new lean business continuity grant of €2,500 is available for training or advisory services supports related to the continued operation of businesses during this pandemic. It is open to small, medium or large client companies of Enterprise Ireland or Oireachtas na Gaeltachta. In addition to these new supports, it is important also to remember the full range of existing Enterprise Ireland, IDA, Local Enterprise Office and Oireachtas na Gaeltachta grant and advisory supports continue to be available to businesses. As I mentioned earlier, the wage subsidy scheme has proven very successful. Over 50,000 businesses have now registered, with over 400,000 employers receiving payment under the scheme. That's 400,000 more people who are staying connected with their employer and they're still in a job. I've engaged with the business representative groups in relation to the scheme, and I know that there were some anomalies at the start, and in fairness, Revenue have shown great flexibility in listening to those concerns and indeed responding to them. So it doesn't matter whether your business is open or closed, as long as you can demonstrate that you have had a 25% impact reduction on your turnover, you are eligible to apply for it. It's important to remember as well that the pandemic unemployment payment of €350 is also available to the self-employed, which is important, and I know for some small businesses where the wage subsidy scheme may not have been suitable, the PUP payment has been a vital support for them. Sometimes it's hard to believe that COVID-19 has only been with us for 2 months. The world has changed and the economic landscape in Ireland has utterly changed. We have put a number of supports in place to help businesses deal with the initial shock of COVID-19. More will be needed, and there's absolutely no doubt about that. And as a Minister, I want to ensure that businesses are supported throughout this crisis. And as I've said before, it's about providing the right support at the right time. And as a government, we will continue to develop and adapt our suite of supports as the situation develops. And I'm working with Minister Donoghue and with colleagues across government in terms of the next stage of our response for businesses. Turning to the question of relaxing restrictions, the Government has made it clear that the #1 imperative is to ensure public health. We are dealing with a deadly virus, so the relaxation of restrictions must be carried out in line with public health guidance, be prudently introduced on a phased basis over time, and while ensuring safe practices backed up by guidance and, where necessary, enforcement. We have seen businesses quickly change practices, for example, contactless deliveries, so businesses can adjust in a safe way, provided there is rigorous adherence to public health guidelines. And I want to thank all those in these sectors for the sacrifices they make every day to sustain essential services and for their rigorous adherence to physical distancing guidelines. And that's why I and my department are focusing specifically on helping businesses to understand what physical distancing involves in the workplace. We have worked with the National Standards Authority of Ireland, that's an agency within my department, and the HSE to produce 2 protocols and guides for manufacturing industry and the retail sector on workplace protection and improvement. These guides set out a range of measures, including staggering of start times, shift work, and I would encourage all businesses, whether they are open or not, to familiarise themselves with these protocols. Every employer has obligations to their staff and to the public to ensure that all necessary measures are being taken to adhere to the public health advice and recommendations in their workplaces. The Health and Safety Authority under my department is working closely with the Department of Health and the HSE to set out clear COVID-19 specific guidance for safe workplaces, which all businesses must adhere to when they are allowed to reopen. And I expect these to be available very shortly. These will not only be backed up by further advice at sector level over time, but also through inspections and enforcement using the full suite of resources available across the state. If a company or an employee has a question, the Health and Safety Authority already offer advice and support and can be contacted in this regard. I know that the question of when we can begin to lift the current restrictions and start getting things back to normal is on the minds of many people and indeed to the forefront of many business owners and leaders across the country. As the Taoiseach has said, the Government continues to consider the broad range of public health, societal and economic impacts and options for lifting the current restrictions. And I would like to stress that the unwinding of restrictions will have to be gradual and proceed over a number of months. I want to assure workers and employers that this Government is committed to ensuring that as the economy reopens, we will do everything that we reasonably can to save those businesses that are viable. As we unwind restrictions, we must do so in a way which supports our longer-term economic prospects. Sectoral issues are being worked on at official level across relevant government departments. We must also be mindful of the need to focus on economic recovery, an issue that I expect to be the fore of any new government's agenda. These are difficult, unprecedented days for businesses in Ireland. The task ahead of us to recover is monumental. But it is because of the innovative and entrepreneurial spirit that we have in Ireland that we have reason to be positive. Absolute Nutrition, a small food company in Rathcoole, have increased their sales by over 200% during COVID-19 through online sales. Gunpowder Gin and Drumshanbo, a household name, are now making hand sanitizer. And only yesterday I was at Combilift in my own county of Monaghan, and they have now come up with a unique device which can split ventilators. It is that ability of businesses to respond and adapt which will be crucial in the weeks and months ahead. And I'm determined that we will continue to support businesses and ensure that as many people as possible will have jobs to return to, with employers who have businesses that will succeed in the future. So remember, we had a strong economy before the pandemic. We must do everything now in our power to ensure that we have a strong economy after the pandemic, and I look forward to hearing Deputy's views on this. Thank you.